So thank you, Futtaim team, for giving me this opportunity to present this thing. So I'm Dr. Aditi. I am heading this genomics department here in Life90 Dubai. So the topic what I'm going to present to the audience is importance of genetic testing in preventive medicine. So I think there are audience who might have an idea about genetic testing and preventive medicine. Also, some people might have an idea, but some maybe is unaware of these terminology or genetic diseases, unaware of these terminologies. So to take everyone on the same page, I will start from the basic. Basic means basic of genetics. That is, what is DNA? So DNA is the heritable content in our body. So our body is comprised of millions and billions of cells. Each and every cell is having 23 pairs of chromosomes. So 23 pairs of chromosome, half of it we get it from our father, half of it we get it from our mother. So that's how it is. But the genetic information stored in this 23 chromosomes are very tightly packed. So this is the chromosome picture. It is not the exact one, but this is how it looks. The chromosome is in the form of tightly coiled DNA with the histone protein, and this kind of shapes we see it under microscope. Okay, so these DNA molecules are having a basis, that is nucleotides. There are mainly four types of nucleotides: adenine, thymine, guanine, and cytosine. So generally, as a molecular geneticist, when we analyze the DNA sequence, it is in the short form, that is AT and GC. So writing the full form is not possible each and every time. So now we all have the information about the genetic content within us, that is the DNA. So now we can understand what is the genetic testing. So genetic testing is a type of medical test that identifies changes in the genes or chromosomes or in the protein. So genes, either it can be genes, chromosome, or protein. These all are very tightly linked with DNA. So there is any changes in the DNA, if it is a pathogenic change, it is going to come out to the protein. That's how it is totally linked. So genetic testing looks for a change, sometimes called mutations or variants in your DNA, which we analyze with the reference sequences of the human genome. We all humans share nearly 99.9% of DNA. Like we are having almost 99.9% of similar DNA within every one of us. Only 0.1% makes you unique. So unique is here, I am not talking about in the form of looks. Definitely, look is different. That is also due to 0.1% of DNA. But it is not only look. When you can see that look changes, internally also your body changes. It might be your food habit, it might be your food sensitivity, it might be your metabolism profile, or a power for an exercise, or for a disease susceptibility like diabetes, heart disease, or it can be anything. It changes with that only 0.1% of the DNA. So here, if you see, I'm just giving an example. In a DNA, if you can see, there is a T marking with the red. That is, I'm just explaining how we can explain the variant and how to understand what is variant. So this is a variant T. You can see here. In general population, 95%, nearly 95% of the population have a position, A in this particular position, and only 5% of the people are having T. So this is called as variants or single nucleotide polymorphism, or SNP also in the short form we can call it. So now variants have a different type of effects on the trait. It really depends on many factors, but I'm giving you two examples like here about the level. So we are from like human beings are from different areas of this world, so that they are exposed to different environmental conditions, different geographical conditions. So environmental factor is one of the factor, along with your genetic information and the variants, that can combine your disease phenotype. Okay, so this is a complex kind of format for a disease phenotype analysis. And there is a very simple example like your eye color, your hair color, that is totally and completely controlled by your genetic information. There is nothing to do with the environmental effects. But when we are talking about skin color has an effect on the environmental. If you are exposed to too much of sunlight, then you can get tan. You can get the tan, but then there is a that is also controlled by the genetic information, how much melanin you are going to produce, how much tan you are going to get after exposing to the sunlight. So all those things are definitely there, but not everything is totally controlled, either by genetic or by environmental. There are some things which are controlled totally by genetics, and few of them, like disease phenotypes, are controlled with the environments also. So as I was giving an earlier example, T mutations here in the DNA. So that is a single nucleotide polymorphism I was showing. So similar way, there must be many other SNPs, like I have given a number. So these SNPs with the disease, we can study the association of it with the diseases. So generally that is done by the genome-wide association studies, that is in the short form we can call as GWAS. Okay. So for the GWAS studies, a large group of populations are needed with a similar kind of ethnicity, and those all the people's data, the metadata of all the people, maybe history, maybe lifestyle, food habit, everything is noted down to have the stronger database. As I told about ethnicity, it should be from the similar ethnicity to avoid any variation between the ethnicity. Then each and every person's DNA to be sequenced or screened for millions or billions of SNPs. As I have given one example, like that, millions and billions of SNPs to be screened for each and every individuals. And then those SNPs and phenotype data, what we have taken in the first section, should be associated to get the genotype phenotype correlation. That's how the databases are built to help future people or unknown people to get the benefit out of it. So generally these things, these correlation studies, these association studies are done by the software, because there are huge number of SNPs. Manually doing is not feasible and not possible. So I'm just giving an example how these people would have done the database setup and how these people would have this kind of data to understand a unknown sample. So let's talk about one SNP ID like 123. So let us check the T allele for a triple X trait. Okay, so whether we are having a positive correlation for the T allele, or we can tell the TT allele have a better effect or a greater effect on triple X trait. To understand that, regression analysis is generally done. Here you can see in the x-axis AA, AT and TT, 3 types of allele, right? And in y-axis we can put trait, and that's how we analyze. If the line is a slanting position, that means there is a positive correlation. Means in AA it is in the near to the x-axis. AT it is little above. TT it is far more above. That means dosage of T is actually changing the or giving the triple X trait, right? If there is no correlation, then the line passes horizontally. That's how a simpler way I just wanted to convey how the analysis is done to understand the correlation of allele with the trait. So now this is a very simple thing. So now I just want to tell you what is the effect of this allele, that is the genotype of individual, and the lifestyle, you can say, or the exercise pattern, or an habit, that is the covariate of it. So along with that, that information, if we can link to the database, it is much more beneficial. So that information is already linked to the database, and which we can take the benefit out of it for a unknown individual's report issue. Okay, so here, if you are having a genotype responsible for it, and a exercise pattern of the individuals in in that population, and then we can generate a data set for the covariate and input. Okay, along with the database, and the same can be used for the reporting of an unknown sample, and that's how we are getting the report out. So now we all understood, I think, how we are doing the genetic test and how we are interpreting the correlation of the trait with the genotype. So now, what is preventive medicine? Preventive medicine is a practice of preventing health care to improve the patient's well-being. It is far more ahead or far more before experiencing the symptoms in a patient. So it is something to delay the disease appearance or to avoid the disease appearance. The goal is to ultimately prevent the disease, disability, and premature death for a disease. Now, genetic testing and preventive medicines, what is the correlation, how we can do? So as I have explained the GWAS, that is genome-wide association studies, how it is done, how we can get benefit out of the database. So that is one factor. Now, GWAS studies are the entire set of DNA or the genome of a large group of people searching for a small variation, that is mutation or SNPs, you can tell, along with the trait information, which we are going to utilize to give you the preventive medicines report. So it is, I need to explain one more thing. It is not only some mutations which will cause the disease, or it is not only some mutations which along with the environmental factor will cause the disease. To understand which type of disease it is to look for this kind of testing. So like here you can see in the right hand side, sickle cell anemia, cystic fibrosis, SMA and DMD. These are single gene disease, means if there is a pathogenic mutations in a single gene, like sickle cell anemia, it is the thalassemia, HBV genes. That is, if a single point pathogenic mutation is there, you are supposed to get this disease. You will experience the symptoms, you will experience the consequences of the disease. Okay, but there are some diseases like cancer, heart disease, substance use disorder. These are something which is not controlled by a single genes. Heart is a very, very important factor, important organ in our body. So if there is only a single gene causing this disease, then it will be really difficult, right? So it is all decided very early, and it is something controlled by the polygenes, like many genes. So it is a polygenic disease. Cancer, it is also a polygenic disease. Substance use disorder, it is something like with the help of some substances or addictive things, you get exposed to disease. So variation in different genes influenced by the lifestyle or individual's choices also can contribute a greater factors in these kind of diseases. So, well, we cannot change our genetics. It is already inside us. We cannot do it. There are research going on for doing like editing genes and all those things, but it is not a very easy process. So, but we can get into a better lifestyle to handle our life better, or we can avoid addictions to unhealthy habits, maybe food habit, exercise routine, or it can be a sleep habit, drinks, or drugs. So definitely addictions are there, but addictions has a ripple effect to family, friends, community, and we should, to stay healthy, I think, empower yourself with genetic information, especially for the people with family history for a better tomorrow. So that is the message I wanted to share with everyone. And thank you for patiently listening to me. And if you have any questions, you're welcome.
We request you to the audience to put any questions they may have on the Q&A section so I can read out for the doctor to answer. Doctor, starting with the first question, can you explain what kind of criteria can a genetic testing show? Can you brief?
What kinds of criteria, in the sense, a genetic testing show means a genotype informations. Genetic testing is for the reading of DNA or the sequence what is present in DNA and its downstream complications due to the mutations or variations in the DNA. So it can be in different field. It can be in field where preventive medicines we are now discussing about it. It can be in the cancer genetics field. It can be in a therapeutic field. So it is something the criteria which is the genetic informations that is pathogenic or non-pathogenic. That is very important to find out that thing. And um, here in preventive medicine, it is the association studies already done by the researchers, and we are going to take help of that database to generate the report for the individuals, unknown individuals. So that is the thing we are doing it here in the preventive medicine. I hope I answered your question.
Yes, doc. So basically, if you could brief, like when we do any kind of a genome testing, the criteria is like from a fitness perspective, cancer screening, muscle building,
Okay,
there are
then
different
you
criteria,
should say the
right?
traits, right? These are, yeah, these are the traits. So, in the preventive medicines, it can be your food. It can be about your nutrition, daily nutrition. So, you might be taking a lot of vitamin D rich food, or but then still you are lacking with it, right? Or you are taking a lot of iron rich food, but still you are lacking with it. So, it is about the nutrition, how you are going to metabolize it is encoded in your DNA. So how much to be taken and how much can be absorbed, all these are there. It may be fitness related, how much power you can put for an exercise. May it be aerobic exercise. You are taking exercise for the running, or you are doing some weightlifting exercise. How far it is good for you? That is like how far it is good for you means whether it is you're going to you are susceptible for injury, or if you are how frequently you can regain your energy, or you can you will not have that much fatigue. All those things are also determined. How you are going to metabolize a simple drug for a blood pressure drug, whether a drug it, you don't need to do a trial and error much of the time if you have a genetic information ready with you. Then something called like your disease, like your diabetes, which is very common, heart disease, which is quite common in these days. So how much you are having the risk factor for having those diseases? It doesn't mean ki you are going to have the disease, but then how much your genetically risk factor is there to get the disease. All those parameters, all those traits are there to understand about your wellness, or about your health, or to take your health in the better directions. So all those informations will be there in the report.
Understood. Doc, can you repeat the name of the genetic testing just in case someone would want to do it?
So we are here to give different panels of it, but then yeah, the comprehensive one is named as Life 360.
Next question
It
is, how
even
can I
comprises.
find my, sorry, Doctor. So the
Yes.
next question is, how can I find my genotype?
So it is simple. You can order the test and then you can find you can get the report, and then in the report all the genotypes with the IDs will be mentioned along with the risk factors and risk scores you will be mentioned in your report. With the trait information here, if you are not understood about the trait means here the like disease like heart disease or diabetes, or it may be the power for the exercise or vitamin D and all those things. Something like that. Linked with the S&P
So, Doc, the
information,
next
your genetic.
question is,
Hmm,
sorry. So the
yes.
next question is, who prescribes this genetic testing and where can it be done?
So the genetic testing for the preventive medicines, it need not to be prescribed by a doctor. It is the consumer genomics. Anyone who is willing to do it, they can get it done. Hello.
There is a question that is there any center where you can give this genotype testing? I would want to tell that Dr. Aditi is from Lifenity Clinic, and you may want to contact Dr. Aditi directly for for this test to be prescribed and to be done.
There is like prescribing is not necessary. You can just register your test with the Lifenity and you can get it done.
Doc, next question is, can genetic testing help to identify any future diseases?
Yeah, that's what it is. It is the risk factor that we can give. It is not the, yeah, if it is high risk, definitely your gene is having a risk for this particular disease. It is a diabetes or that. If you control your lifestyle, or if you have it, like if you change your lifestyle to a better one, then maybe you might not be getting it. But then definitely with the genes, we give the score as high risk. If it is given, then you can monitor your lifestyle to avoid the disease.
How frequently should it be done?
This is one-time exercise. You should not be doing. Genes cannot the genetic information will not change. So it is one time you can do it, and then if you're getting something on high risk, or which you are feeling that this is I'm not feeling good about this, then that thing only you should monitor it with the diagnostic testing.
Next question is, I have a family history of kidney diseases in my family among my ancestors. Will my genetic testing also give an outcome whether I have the same genes?
You can definitely check for it whether you are having a high risk. If it is going through the family, I hope it might come as high risk, but then I cannot tell just like that it will be high risk or low risk or whatever. But then if you can definitely get it checked with the genetic testing here.
So what is genotype test name and which clinic in UAE? I think we have answered this question. Is this test covered by insurance? No, it will not be covered under insurance because it's not part of treatment. It's a preventive medicine, so it's not covered under insurance. Do we need to see a special doctor for analysis of genetic test?
So it is not for me, I should not be saying like no or yes, but definitely if you want to go to see some doctor, you can. But then after you get the report, you can avail the genetic counseling, which will, the person will explain you what the risk score means and what should be the prevention and what can be done with this report. So all those things you can get the info after the test with the genetic counseling.
Is gene fixing treatment available to public or still it is at the lab level?
No, it is some are there for the SMA, for DMD. There are drugs which are based on gene therapies, but not all DMD or SMAs are curable till date. It is only one or two things, and SMA is also, these drugs are quite costly. So it is available, but then it should be through proper channel only. These are FDA approved drug, and after seeing the mutations and everything, the report, everything, they then prescribe it. But it is not under the preventive medicines. It is totally diagnostic medicine.
Is genetic testing should be taken like a medical test or a regular basis? At what age should be taken? Is there any age limit for that? I think the first part of it, doctor already answered that it is a one-time thing which is done um, in your lifetime, because DNA regularly doesn't change. Doc, you may want to pick up the question at what age should someone test for their
There is
genotype
no such
testing?
kind of thing. There is no such kind of thing. At any age, you can do it. The genes will never change. The hereditary genes will never change. Somatic mutations comes up in presence of cancer and all those, but these kind of things will never change. It will stay same throughout your life.
We have multiple questions multiple times. At what age should someone take genetic testing? We answered that question. Yeah, so a lot of people are actually asking which clinic to contact. So, doctor, if you would want to repeat the clinic's name and the contact number where people can contact to get this genetic testing done.
So we here in Livenity we are providing this kind of testing. So in Livenity you can contact. I think I will share the contact details with you, Ms. Meena, and then maybe you can share. Is it possible? Or
Sorry, I did not get
Abhishek,
your
if you
question.
are so hello.
Yes,
So
doc.
here we have one more person from our Livenity team who is looking after this part, how to do it and all those things. Mr. Abhishek, he can, I think, take this thing in a better way. So at Livenity, we are doing the service and you can get it done. But how? I think Abhishek can answer it better. Abhishek?
Abhishek, do you want to pick up that question? I think Abhishek is on another call. Anyone who may have a query, my email address is veena.kumar@willistowerswatson.com. I'm your broker. Alternatively, you also can contact your account manager. We will put you in contact with Life clinics.
Thank you. Thank you.
Doc, next question is aging having any impact on the genes? Is that what we should understand?
Uh, Aging, definitely. The looks wise, if you think the wrinkling part, prickles and tanning, sometime the skin is looking very much aged. All those things are also there. So, see, it is already there in your genes. You cannot change it. But then the precautions or preventions can be adapted in your lifestyle to delay that or to avoid getting that aging look in your looks. That's what.
Doc, is there any, it's a uh, very different question. Is there any genes which also gives the cosmetic part of it from a skin perspective or
Yes.
aging?
Yes,
So
that's what I was
what
telling. It is about wrinkling and all those things are there. Beauty part, how skin look, how the skin color will be. All those things are definitely there, and it is encoded in genes, and you get your part of it in the report.
I think we have covered all the questions, Doc. We will wait for another 10 minutes for anyone who may have any more questions, post which we can wind up the session.
Sure. Thank you.
Yeah, there are no more questions yet. Thank you so much for your time, Doc. It was a very informative session. I think that's what we see in the healthcare sector more and more. There is a echo. So there is a change in the rim of healthcare that we are moving from treatment perspective to preventive medicine. That's where this genotype and gene analysis and modification of gene, everything is coming up. I know there are a lot of challenges when coming on to implementation of this. It's very important for us to understand how we implement it. Thank you so much for your session. Doc, yeah, there are a few more questions. I will just read out for you. Is testing a globally standard test, or does it matter where it is done? If one gets it done, should keep the results with them, or repeating is important with aging? I think the last part of it, I can repeat what doctor said earlier, that it is a one-time activity. We do analysis for DNA. The first part of it, Doc, if you can answer that, is there a global standard for this genome testing?
So it is, that's what it is all based on the database. That's what I was mentioning, how the data are actually collected. So the genotype informations, if you are getting based on the chip, this is processed with the array-based chip. So based on the chip, whatever genotypes we are targeting on, so if the similar kind of genotype is available generally this is the similar kind of genotype, it is available everywhere, but there may be some additions somewhere and some are not there in somewhere, but then it is only one time exercise to understand the risk score of it. So it is almost like it is a preventive medicine. There is no standard guideline for it, but then yeah, it is like that. So generally, the similar kind of SNPs are focused for the studies.
Second part of it is, should we keep the results with ourselves? Yes, we may want to keep the
Yes.
results for ourselves for a long-term treatment and understanding. So going to the next question, Doc. Some decades back, we heard of cloning, whether the clone will have the same set of genes as that of the original. The audience says that it might be a small question, but if you can answer, is this anything to do with cloning?
Cloning, in the sense, a small part of gene, if you are taking it and cloning it in bacteria or viruses, and then producing this kind of protein for future treatment or for the research purpose, that is generally, yes, the people are still doing it. But there is nothing to do with that here with the preventive medicine, I feel. There is nothing to do with that.
Noted, Doc. Thank you so much for your time. Thanks everyone for joining today's session. Thank you. Have a nice day.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you. Thank you, everyone.